Hi guys, we're driving in a 2013 Mercedes R500 with the M273 engine. It's got a transfer case chain that's stretched, but it's still in the early stages. They get much worse, but this one is still in the early stages. But I'll accelerate a bit now to let you hear what it sounds like, just so you can hear if you have the same issue, and then I'll make a short video to show how to solve it. Just get the right opportunity to see if I can make it skip, so you can hear what it sounds like. That sound. If you get that sound, you've got a timing chain, transfer case chain that's stretched. It's the same on the W251 R class that we're in, also on the ML164 and on the GL164s. Doesn't matter what engine it's got, it's the same issue, same transfer case. So if you hear that, you've got a stretched chain, you have to order a chain. You don't have to replace the whole transfer case. In the next video I will make a video to show you how to fix it. Okay guys, so I'm busy removing this back cover of the transfer case so I can change the transfer case chain that's stretched. So if you lie under the car, I'm going to do it in the car. Some people pull the whole transfer case off the transmission and then do it outside, but I'm doing it in the car. So that's the transfer case. We're lying under the car. You can see there's the prop shaft that comes onto it. There is the front prop shaft. So you don't need to loosen the front prop shaft, but the rear prop shaft you need to loosen. So pretty much the first thing you need to do, that's your fill screw. Loosen that first to make sure you get it loose, and then put a container under it and drain your old oil. There's your drain screw. It takes about half a litre of oil, so not a lot of oil. Then the next step would be to loosen the prop shaft. So it's got 6 bolts on it that you need to loosen. Mine's already out, and then you need to tap it and get it out, but then you won't have enough space to get it off the transmission. So what you have to do, what I did, is right at the back there's a cover here. Take that cover off from the heat shield, and then there's the carrier bearing. It takes 2 bolts that you loosen with a 16mm socket. Just take them off. That'll give you a bit of movement there, just enough so your prop shaft will pop out there from the transfer case, and then you can move the prop shaft. Then you can move it out of the way. Okay. Then you got to go and loosen all these bolts. I've pulled them out now, so it's just hold on by the silicone now. Got to loosen all those bolts. The ones at the bottom is easy. The ones on top, you're gonna need. Let me just find it. You're gonna need a swivel like this. You're gonna need a swivel like that to get in there, and a bunch of extensions. But it can be done. I have managed to get them out. And then your next step would be just there's a prying point there and a prying point there, just to break the silicone and take this cover off, and then just move the prop shaft out of the way, and then you can pull this cover off. I'll show you when it's off. Okay, it's out. It's off rather. But update, you obviously a bunch of fat, overweight German engineers sat in a room, and they figured out how to make life as impossible for anyone working on this thing, like they do with all German cars. So of course you need a mole or two that you just don't have to get this prop shaft out. So what you have to do, you have to loosen the exhaust there, and you have to loosen the exhaust there, and then you have to loosen this heat shield that sits under the prop shaft and slide it backwards. If you slide it back towards where the carrier bearings that you've got about 50 mils, you can slide it back. That somehow then gives you that extra 2 mils of movement. It's not easy. You got to wiggle, you got to use a bit of common sense and figure it out. It's very close, but then it does come off. Okay, so yeah, it's off. As you can see, it's just a joke. This thing is really stretched. So now to remove it is very easy. These gears both just pull off Okay, just take note of the orientation, where the gears sit and where the lips sit and everything, so you put it back in exactly the same way. So I'm going to take it off now, take off this joke of a chain, put on the new one, slide it back on, clean the surface, put new silicone or gasket maker on, fight this thing back in. So I'm going to use all the common sense I've got left, use that to get it back in, and then tighten it down and let the silicone cure, and then yeah, start putting back together everything, but let the silicone sit overnight. There's also a magnet. This fell out while I was taking the cover off. So on the cover you'll see there's a magnet to catch any metal bits that's in the oil. So take the magnet out, it just slides out, clean it, clean the whole thing on the inside, and then degrease where you're going to put the silicone to make sure you don't have a leak, because if you have a leak you're going to have to redo this whole job. No one in their right mind would want that ever. So yeah, but that pretty much is it. So from here on it should be easy now. These things just slide on and off, and yeah, then it's easy to take the old chain off, put the new chain on. Luckily my guide is fine, didn't break. Sometimes if it bounces enough it breaks that guide, so if your guide is broken you have to get a new one. But yeah, my transfer case is still nice and clean inside. Some of the other videos I saw there was a lot of sludge build up inside. This vehicle has actually not got high mileage on it. The reason why this thing is stretched is the Nimrod that owned it before me decided to put 2 different size tires on it, and obviously on any all-wheel drive car you got to make sure that the circumference of all your tires are exactly the same, otherwise this will happen. So this happened on relatively low mileage. Shouldn't have happened already, but it happened because he had the wrong tires on. So I've already sorted that issue out, and yeah, now just replace the chain and then this thing should be good as new. Okay, you can see on the left is the old chain, on the right is the new chain. So you can almost see they level at the bottom, but on top you can see how stretched that thing is. Other than that, they're all the same. Just look at all the links on this thing. I think it's 16 links, still stretched. Amazing. But yeah. Okay, new chain is in. Heads up, it doesn't go in as easily as it comes off. Obviously now with the chain that's stiffer, as you can see. Remember what it looked like. Now it's solid. Your tolerances are much smaller, so sliding it on and off, or on, much more difficult than sliding it off. Sliding it off, they almost took themselves off, but sliding it on, you got to wiggle, you got to make sure you have the right angles and everything, but you do get it on. And make sure the guide and the face of the chain is flush there. If the chain is still sticking out from the guide, then you're not all the way in. It's got to be flush. But yeah, it's in, and yeah, obviously that will solve the problem. It's now stiff. So now it's a question of cleaning this, degreasing it, putting new silicone, and fighting the cover back in. And yeah, lots of fun. Okay, it's finished. All the bolts are back in. Prop shaft is back in. Exhaust is tightened down. All the covers are back up. Prop shaft is tightened down in the rear. Yeah, now I just gotta fill the oil. Silicone, I actually finished it last night, so silicone has got a nice bead coming out. Looks like OEM, fully cured, and now I can put the oil in and then take it for a spin. But yeah, I know it's sorted, and yeah, not the easiest job I've ever done, but yeah, it is doable in the car. So yeah, if anyone has watched up to this point, and you've learned something and you want to, I would appreciate it if you would like, share and subscribe. Take care.